Welcome to Coaches on a Mission.
Thank you so much, Dallas. I'm so excited to be with you.
I am too. I think we're going to have a really helpful conversation for everybody listening. So, before we dive in, can you walk us through who you help and how? And then we'll talk specifically about the issue that's up for you lately when it comes to really trying to help these poor people. So, give all of
Okay.
our listeners some context.
Okay. Well, I'm a GAPS coach, gut and psychology syndrome. So my niche is people who already know what GAPS is.
Right.
Okay.
So, for our listeners who don't, can you fill
Yeah.
us in?
Okay, GAPS is a nutritional protocol, gut and psychology syndrome, which was developed by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride when her son became autistic after he was vaccine damaged.
Mhm.
And she used her ancestral Russian heritage to come up with a beautiful, sumptuous, delicious way of eating that heals and seals the gut and then gets rid of the toxicity in the system, clears the toxicity out of the brain, and then we get fully functioning children quite often with this protocol. But
Got
it's
it.
also good for all sorts of inflammatory and autoimmune issues.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you help, so you're a
Yeah.
GAPS expert, and who do you help specifically?
I help frazzled mums feed fussy eaters GAPS foods with no fuss and without
Mhm.
breaking the bank, without getting overwhelmed.
Got it. So what is the your dream client, what circumstance is their family in when they find you?
Well, it was pretty much like I was 10
Mm,
years ago with one, two, three small children. I had two small children, but my niche, is families. And the children have behavioral issues and learning difficulties and are some of them are nonverbal, some of them are banging their head on the wall, it's very sad. And the mamas are at their wits' end. And of course, gut GAPS being gut related, whatever is happening with the child's gut, it has come from the mama's gut. So,
okay.
so the mama actually, like when the plane's coming down and it's an emergency, it's the mama who's got to put her oxygen mask on before she can help the child, really. And so quite often the parents have already deduced this fact that they are suffering and they need to sort their food intake out to sort their gut out, and so they can help the kids. So the mums are brain fogged and a bit frazzled and at wit's end and don't know what to do with the
Mm,
kids. They've just found the protocol and maybe they've read the book and maybe they've tried it, but they're a bit lost and feeling overwhelmed and thinking it's so hard and there's so much cooking to do and I don't know how to do it. And I've been there and I know what it's like and it's lonely. And you're the parent
mm,
standing at the school gate and the mama has said, can Billy come to play? And I'm like, yeah, Billy would love to come to play, but please don't feed her any pizza, pasta, biscuits, cakes, crackers, fruit.
there's
It's all
that
off
whole
limits.
layer too,
And they kind of
right?
give you the cold shoulder. They go, what's she going to eat? But actually she can eat all sorts, sausage and egg
Mhm.
and all sorts of yummy foods. But so yeah, I want to take the overwhelm out for these mamas who are feeling like they can't do it. I make it
Okay,
easy.
got
Make
it.
it easy for
Let
them.
me reflect what I heard to make sure I understand. So your dreamy dream clients, when they find you, they're completely solution aware. They know what GAPS is. They're likely trying it on their own with not a lot of success because it's so new and they are depleted and brain fogged and overwhelmed. So, but there, you don't have to convince them that GAPS is the solution. They come to you really solution aware and in need of support to make a GAPS lifestyle easy for them.
You got it.
Okay,
And I've created this GAPS app, which is awesome, which
that's
is easily
amazing.
referenceable. And I've got a course that gives the core teachings in a lecture form, but a cookery demo at the same time. And it's very free and easy, and chop it up and chuck it in. And don't worry about the measurements because we don't do measurements here. We just like chuck it in, it'll be okay. Working with principles, of
Love it.
timeless ancestral wisdom and heritage. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think everyone listening has an understanding of the really important work that you do and an understanding of where your client is at when they hire you or don't, which brings us to what you want to walk away with from our time together today. How can I help you?
So what I really need help with is getting them to commit, basically. I've made it
Yeah,
all so easy. I've made it so
right.
easy. I've made it so affordable, and I've given them so much free resources, but actually they need to get specific with it, and they need guidance if
Yeah,
they want to actually get results. So they
yeah,
need me, but they're not committing.
right. Okay, so this was my understanding as we were preparing to hit record, and I just want to check in and see if that all feels true for you. You have lead generation is not an issue. You've got your organic plan. When you started Client Surge, what did you say? You had like 20 some sessions kind of right away. So
Yeah.
lead gen is not a problem. Your audience, they know they need and want this work. So the selling piece is not even a problem, but your dream client is so spent and overwhelmed that it's hard for this mom to slow down, right? Or everything feels so urgent that getting started with you feels like a massive undertaking that they just easily put off until tomorrow or the next day or the next week or month or even year. So, what I hear you asking is, what can I do to help these yes clients actually get started on their journey? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, mostly at the end of my discovery calls, I have a favorable, positive, yeah, that sounds really good. I think I'm going to go for the chocolate or the vanilla, whichever one it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, great, shall we have a follow-up call this time next week, maybe, when you've had a chance to, whatever it is they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had 2 or 3 come through, and that was great, but I was expecting it to be at least 50%, but it just isn't.
Right. And I mean, I'm giving, if our listeners could see my face, I'm giving you this sideways glance because are you joking? Your family is in crisis and this is a solution and you agree it's a solution. What's the problem here,
I
right?
tell you what it is, it's gut and psychology syndrome, and it's not
Mm,
really them talking. It's like they're being guided by their gut bugs, I swear. Their
yeah,
gut,
yeah.
they're just on the verge of doing something amazing, and their gut bugs will just give them a little, tweak.
Yep, I hear you. So here's what I propose. Why don't we take a look at where in your sales and enrollment process we can create different expectations for your client, just to battle these gut bugs, right? And help them really understand what it's going to take to get started. So when they hear in the moment what it takes to get started, they don't just flake out, right? Or fall into overwhelm. So let's look at like the before the discovery session, what holes we can plug, the during, what holes we can plug, and the after. Would that be helpful?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. So let's imagine that I am a potential client and I've been following you on Instagram. I love your Instagram reels, by the way. I've been following you. I'm ready to book a sales conversation or discovery session with you. What does that look like from the time I book until the time we have our meeting? What kind of communication is happening between the two of us?
Sometimes there's a few DMs,
Okay.
but sometimes not. Sometimes they go straight to my link tree and book, and they fill out a little type form questionnaire that I have, and that pings through, and then I find they've booked a call when I haven't actually had to do anything, which is
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But I'm talking specifically about, okay, they've booked a call. Is there anything you have in place from the time the appointment is set until the meeting occurs to help set expectations?
there are 3 reminder emails that are automated.
Okay.
And I say things like, I'm so looking forward to getting you going on your GAPS journey. And why don't you think about your trigger foods and jot
Mm,
them down so we're ready for the call, kind of thing.
got it.
Do a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of that.
Great.
Uh,
Okay. I have an idea.
okay.
So, and it might be as early on in the process as the actual type form or application that they fill in. but I think we need to narrate or speak into the problem here really explicitly for folks. So I'll share my idea and then we'll decide, like, does this belong on the application or is it somewhere else?
Mm.
But I would love to hear you tell me, here's what's likely to happen, right? If GAPS is gut and psychology, and as the parent, I know that you're overwhelmed and likely experiencing brain fog. So to set you up for success, I ask that you reserve a full 60 minutes uninterrupted for our conversation so that we have time to step 1, assess the situation, step 2, come up with a game plan, whatever you do in the process, Emma, and step 3, get you enrolled if we agree that I can help you. And then even the enrollment process will take us 15 minutes. So now I'm like already thinking about that instead of thinking, okay, great, we're going to meet and then I'm going to go off and consider things. I actually wonder if letting, because you're the boss of them, if you can create a different environment where they expect to enroll on that first call, because sending them off is not helping them, right? It's just adding to their confusion and overwhelm.
I think that is an excellent idea, actually, to prime them, and so that it's not wasting my time. I mean, they always get something from the call. I always make sure they've got something to take away that they can immediately implement that's going to help them. Of course, I want everyone to get better, for heaven's sake. I just want everyone to feel better.
Right.
But at the same time, I can't spend my whole life helping everyone get better while the roof over my head is in question, so I've got to make it more serious and make sure that people are ready to commit. I've made it as really affordable, and if they don't want to do that, there's so many free resources. So I don't feel bad about that,
Yeah. Well, and let's also just get really clear here. If I have a helpful conversation with you, it's not actually going to solve the issues that are going on with my family and my diet. Right? Like I might feel better this afternoon, but I need your support long term. The book didn't cut it for me. So I just want to encourage you to really stand in that truth and understand that the best way to help them is to ensure that they get enrolled. The people who don't want it, there's nothing you can do to trick them into signing up. But there are so many moms you meet with, I'm just imagining, who want and need this so badly. And you're just by letting them go off, you're making it harder for them to get the thing they want.
I think I'm being a bit nice about things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally. And it's we talk about this inside the Hive a lot, this distinction between being polite and being kind. This is inspired by Piero Ferrucci's book, which is called The Power of Kindness. And he talks about how often, especially heart-centered coaches, we want to be kind. And in an effort to be kind, we actually are polite instead.
Yeah.
And polite is kind of fake, right? And not really taking a stance and staying at the surface so that nobody gets their feelings hurt. And that's not helpful. It's not helpful. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Maybe I need to, I'm just having an idea. Maybe what I need to do is make it more clear how I know how difficult it is to actually take the steps, to take the first steps, to dive in, because it's scary.
Yes.
So I must note that down. Yeah.
The stakes are high. You're right. And the commitment, especially if they haven't worked with you yet, what they know about GAPS is that it's time consuming and hard. Right. So now I'm saying yes to something that's time consuming and hard, and I'm already totally burnt out and over it.
Right. And that's what I try to assure them is not the case. If they sign up with me, I'm going to make it smooth and relaxed and easy.
Great.
And I make that a big part of the discovery call, that it's okay. We just take it moment by moment. Yeah. And it's just 5-minute jobs, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. You can leave that. You can drop this in the middle of this. If somebody starts crying or you need to go and do something, you can just drop it. It doesn't matter. It's not important.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what specific expectation would you like to set in the type form, in the application before they book? And so this is around, if my suggestion lands, this is around the like enrollment piece, but also the time they need to have set aside for the conversation.
Right. Yes. You said that I should encourage them to honor themselves by setting aside this time for at least an hour, and to make sure that I point out that 15 minutes of that will be an enrollment process.
Yeah, getting you enrolled if we
Get it.
agree that I can help you.
Getting you enrolled if we
Yes.
agree that I can help you. Great.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So
Okay.
and then they can have a checkbox, right? Like, yes, I will set aside 60 minutes for our conversation, or no, I cannot set aside that much time right now.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And it's just
Yes.
like really helping them show up with with the understanding that's going to serve them.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Great. So that's the before. And then I'm just wondering, with the reminder emails, how does this land for you? Taking the angle of, I know how hard it is. And my promise to you is that this 60 minutes together will be the hardest step you take in our work together. If you can get through this 60-minute conversation, it is smooth sailing. Here's a story, right? And it could be a link to a video, because you said you've got these success stories with your other clients. Here's an example of what I mean. Because they believe it's hard and time consuming, right?
Yes.
So let's begin to address that instead of just quick reminder, here's your link, right? And here's the time.
What a wasted opportunity. Yeah.
Totally.
Brilliant.
So we're going to get that again, help these parents show up with an expectation that their life's about to get easier if they give themselves the time they need to get started with you.
Exactly.
Right.
That is brilliant. One of the main things people say is GAP's foods are so expensive. We're looking for pasture raised, organic foods, free from everything. No, not soy fed or
right.
So yeah, the cost of the foods is a consideration, and so they say, well, I need the money to pay for the food, not I need the money. I need your guidance, because I got so many shortcuts for them, and I got free food ideas, like go and get some fish heads from the fishmonger. He gives them away. That makes a great stock. So yeah, I've got so many ideas for them, but yeah, one of the main things they say is, I can't afford it because I need to spend the money on the food.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't you have a membership that's 30 some odd dollars though a month?
It's 45 a month.
Oh, 45 a month. Okay.
It's 33 pounds. Yeah.
Oh, 33 pounds. Okay. So what can you do to address the financial concern in another one of these reminder emails? So we've got the first reminder email, which is, I totally get it. And you are in a brain fog. So we're going to carve out 60 minutes to just get this handled for you. It's not going to be another thing on your list. And now there's also this consideration of the food is so darn expensive. I can't afford any other support. So how could you address that concern in a reminder email?
Yeah. I could just basically say what I've just described to you. Let them know that I've got plenty of shortcuts for them and plenty of solutions for stretching a chicken to 5 meals for a family of 4.
Yeah. Okay. So my feedback on that is, great idea. Be as specific as possible, because right now they're overwhelmed, right? So by saying I've got plenty of ideas, that just feels like a lot of ideas and nothing concrete.
Okay.
Right. So it might say, I'm excited for the meeting, and here's the reminder. I want to address how expensive being on a GAPS diet for your family can be. In fact, it's the number one concern I hear from overwhelmed moms. And I want you to know that following my protocol saves the average family X amount. every single month because we know how to stretch a chicken for 5 days for a family of four. There are ideas on how to get free food, like fish heads from the fishmonger. What a great idea. Get specific because that will help them trust you and feel capable. And we want them showing up to this discovery call feeling capable of actually pulling a GAPS diet off.
Okay. I love it.
Great.
That's great.
Okay, so on the application, we are going to set this expectation about how much time it's really going to take and how this is the hardest conversation they'll ever have with you. Then we've got one reminder email about overcoming this cost concern, which is legitimate, helping them trust you, helping them see in a tangible way that they can make this happen financially. And then again, reminding them of that time issue, right? In another confirmation email. Okay.
The time to set aside.
The time to set aside.
That there will be the 15 minutes to get you enrolled.
Yeah. And I would even just say, here's our agenda for the call, right? Phase 1, we will spend about 15 minutes addressing your food triggers. Phase 2, I will give you some tangible actions to apply right away, whether we decide to work together or not. Phase 3, I will walk you through the 2 ways I work with clients and help you get enrolled if we agree that my work can actually help your family.
Brilliant.
So now they show up. Okay, great. So we've got our reminder, we've got our application, our reminder emails. Now they show up to the discovery session. If this lands, Emma, I would begin, so in the client search process, we set the stage at the very beginning of the call, so everybody knows that you're going to sell to them at the end.
Get the buy-in.
Yep, and you've already told them twice now, right? But I would just share that agenda at the top. Again, right? This conversation is going to happen in 3 phases. Here's phase 1, here's phase 2. I will reserve plenty of time to help you get enrolled if we agree that I can serve you. Do you have any concerns you want to address before we dive in? Another question might be, is there anything right now that might prevent you from being able to spend the next 45 minutes with me? Just again, to remind them of their commitment and help them buy into this thing that they know they want.
They love to spend the time with me. I mean, they don't want to go off the call.
But you mentioned, before we began recording, you mentioned that as soon as you say, great, let's get you enrolled, suddenly interruptions happen and they have to go, right?
Pick up the kids or something, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to address that at the beginning as well. And just for our listeners, this is not some sort of slimy sales tactic. Emma has shared that her audience is completely solution aware. They want this and they're overwhelmed. So we are eliminating this default because of their brain fog. What did you call it? Their belly bugs?
Gut bugs, yeah.
Their gut bugs, right? That we're helping them overcome some side effects of the circumstance that they're in, literally the health circumstance that they are in. And if they don't buy into that, that's fine. You can answer their questions on the call and not even invite them to work with you. But this is truly how we serve people and center the client.
I just know how different they're going to feel, even in the first few weeks, and then, it affects every facet of your life. It's not just your belly aching or your joints aching or your migraines or whatever it is that's ailing you. It's the communication with your children, the eye contact, it's the relationship with your spouse, it's your work. If you're working, suddenly you've got oodles more energy and it's just like, God, come on, people.
Yeah. And I've been in those circumstances where it all just feels like so much. And to even get my head wrapped around a solution is too much for me in the moment. So I have compassion for these parents for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So walk me through how it usually goes at that phase in the discovery call where you shift to the invitation or the enrollment piece. Can you highlight how that process goes, and let's see if there are any gaps to fill?
I usually say, okay, well, from what you've told me, I've understood XYZ, and I know that gaps can help you with this. So I'd love to invite you to become a client. And there's two ways you might work with me. Then I describe the membership and everything that entails, the support group, video vault of short little easy to reference videos, and also the core teachings, which are these hour-long cookery demos, which give you the why am I doing this, why, you know. And I keep it fun, I keep it light, I keep it easy. And then they can, in the support group, call, you know, ask me questions and post what they're having for breakfast, and ask the other members for help and inspiration, motivation. It's a great little setup. It works really, really well.
Yeah.
Then there's the coaching, which is meet me twice a week, just like twice a month, just like this, as we are now, and then have an expert in your pocket, and you can WhatsApp me whenever you need. I try to get back to you within 4 hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And that costs X. So
Right.
which one of those do you think would be good for you?
Great. I have some feedback about this.
Okay, great.
If I am an overwhelmed parent, all of the details you just shared for me go in one ear and out the other. Nothing you shared is going to help me make a decision in that moment, because it's hour long. Wait, I have to watch hour-long videos? You didn't tell me that. I don't have time for hour-long videos. Wait, there's a community. Like, it's all of these things that just feel like work rather than solutions. Now, once I'm in, I need to know about those things, but nothing you just shared with me helps me actually decide that I'm in. Does that make sense? It's like there's a,
Sure.
you can WhatsApp
No,
me in 4 hours before I get back to you. That's just information that's clouding my already cloudy brain.
Anything you say, Dallas.
So
I'm open. My ears are wide open. I'm like,
I love
yeah, I'll
this.
take anything.
You're such a good sport. So for your consideration, my suggestion is we're going to go all the way back to that line where you say, I'd like to invite you to become a client. I'd like to invite you to become a client. How does that sound? And then you stop talking.
Okay.
So they have one decision to make right now, which is, would I like to work with Emma or would I not? We're not getting into the how yet. Let me make that first decision. So when you say that to me, if I'm interested, I will likely say some version of, how does that work? Or what does that look like? Or tell me more. Great. Now I've gotten a buy-in to go into some of the details. Only some of the details. So the way I would, so let's pretend I'm going to be you. You're my dream client. I'd like to invite you to become a client. I'm not going to say a word. You say, what does that look like? My reply is, I work with clients in 2 ways. One of them is through group support. I have a custom built app to help you. The other is private coaching. Private coaching is for the family who, fill in the blank, right? Who have the extra financial resources, who are like really in an urgent circumstance right now and need me in their back pocket, who just fill in the blank there. Not how often do we meet and how quickly do I get back to you? It's like, this is for you if you blank.
Okay.
The group, right, is for families who feel so overwhelmed right now, but just need to get started, who have a financial limitation. You'll fill in the blank for each of those based on what they've shared in the conversation with you. Because you shared with me before we started recording that often people get into the group and then realize they want more coaching with you. So let's just get them into one of those programs, because then you know you'll be able to help them in the best way possible. So how does that land? It's literally a sentence. The group program through the app is for family who blank. Privates is for the family who blank.
It's perfect, because it's putting it in it's taking the spotlight off me and putting the spotlight on them, and then they can go, oh yes, I identify with that, I'll do that. Yeah, I
Great.
like it.
Great. And then, so let's just say the answer is, okay, I think I want to do the group. Fantastic. Let's get you enrolled in the group. And then I'll let you know the very first step. Now, the client may have questions like, how does it work, right? Or what's included? Only answer the question they ask. They're telling you how much information they can handle. So just for our listeners, we're not withholding. This is not some sort of trickery. This is what it looks like to center the client. Right? I'm listening to you and you're telling me what you need to know, and I'm going to share that with you. But when it comes to selling, we get really nervous and just start sharing all the details, and it can go off the rails, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. So are you open to trying that out in your next discovery session?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Great. Great. And so what it looks like is, all right, so let's get you enrolled in the group program, and then I will show you the very next step. And then we share the link, we get them enrolled, right? And then I might say, okay, well, can I ask you questions in the group? Yes, you can. We actually have this platform and you can post questions there. I'm in the platform every day, whatever your answer is.
That's perfect, because that's what I want to do, is to get them enrolled so that I can give them a little tour, so that I can screen share and say, look, here you look at this, and here you look at it. If you want to know about that, you find it here. If you want to, just like get them started.
Get them
to bookmark the page and say, set aside an hour on Sunday when the kids are playing and just watch a couple of little 4-minute videos.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. So at the very beginning of this conversation, you've shared we'll reserve time to get you enrolled. Because if we decide to work together, I want to give you a tour of the program.
Brilliant.
Right?
Yeah.
So then it becomes this really great tour of the program, right? Instead of I'm just paying and you're going to send me information later.
Right.
So I have one more thing I'd love to speak to, if it would be helpful. And that is, like, what do we do when the moment comes for a client to enter in their credit card information, right? What do we do when then they're just like, I have to go talk to my partner, or the kitchen's on fire, or whatever, right? Whatever distracts them. So as values-driven coaches, we always want to center the client, right? And we're never forcing someone into something they're not ready for, right? But I think this is such a great opportunity to actually narrate what's happening. And what that might look like, Emma, would be something like, I understand, right? I know what it's like to have your busy family, and I really hear you telling me you need to go. Before we do that, I want to just say, I see this happen all the time. And I would not be doing my job if I didn't let you know that what's happening, is likely the brain fog or the gut bugs stepping in. I heard you say earlier that you really want this, and I just want to make sure that you're not unconsciously sabotaging or blocking yourself because this step feels scary.
That's exactly what it is. That's just brilliant, Alice. Thank you. Oh,
you're welcome.
You've put it so beautifily, and client-centered. We're looking after them.
Totally.
I just want the mamas to feel good, and the children need help. I feel quite welling up. Yeah. I'm feeling a bit emotional because,
No, I get to you. It's really beautiful. Yeah. It's really beautiful.
I remember what I felt like at that point, and it was just disastrous. I felt completely lost and hopeless, and really didn't know what to do next. And I remember that feeling, and I can see the kind of panic in people's eyes, and I just see them and think, oh my God, I could so help you. Please let me
Yeah.
help you. But the way you
Yeah.
say it is spot on. I'm going to study what you've said and implement it. And it's going to help so many people. And I'm really thrilled.
I'm
Yeah.
really glad to hear that. And that this is what it looks like to coach instead of convince when we
Yeah.
get to that offer part of the sales call. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. All right. So we've talked about the before, the during, and the after of your process. We're going to make the adjustment to your application. We will no longer lose the opportunity that's there for you in those reminder emails. We're going to address concerns in the reminder emails. Set the stage at the beginning of that sales call. Just here's the agenda, and I want to give you a tour of the program if we decide to work together. So that's what's happening. And then toward the end, just give them the information they need and nothing that they are asking for and nothing more, so that we can actually help them take this important first step.
Brilliant.
Great. And then I guess that last piece is, if you feel like resistance is coming up because it's a scary step, speak into that for them. Because whether they decide to take the step now or not, at least they know what it's like to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Is there anything else you want to ask or share before we wrap up our conversation today?
I just want to say that you're really genius, Dallas, at what you do.
Thank
Really,
you.
really beautifully. It just feels so good. It doesn't feel icky and awkward. It's as you say, client-centered. It's a difficult paradigm shift to have, to get off yourself, to get out of your own way and really get that ego out and just focus on what someone else needs.
Yeah.
So excellent suggestions, and I'm truly grateful. And yeah,
I'm really
you are
happy
an
to help you.
excellent coach, man. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to help you. And thank you for the important work you're doing for these families. So, with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I hope everyone has at least one takeaway that you can add to your own sales process. And we will see you back here next week. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Emma.
Bye.